The Philippe Matthew Show After Hours Live. It's going to be a heated discussion. We're back with Emunah Yisrael, the creator of Solonomics 101 and author of The Angry Black Woman Syndrome Revisited, the B Midbar Journal, and my brother, my keeper. We've been doing a series called called Melanated Conversations, and it's 110 degrees here in Sacramento today, and I'm hot. Not because of the heat. I'm hot because of some of these Negroes that are on social media after the Jesse Williams speech or acceptance speech for the Humanitarian Award on BET a few nights ago. So we're getting ready to just go at it and go in it. Emunah, how are you? Welcome back, darling.
Oh, praise be to the Most High. I'm doing well, Brother Philippe. I'm with you. This is going to be a very interesting conversation. So get your water and your handkerchief.
Here it is, right here, ladies. You got my water. I don't know if it's water in it, people. I'm just saying, I'm gonna say that it's water. That's what I'm going to do.
This is tea. This is tea.
That's a good one. I'll use that. It's tea.
It's tea.
All right. So we all know Jesse Williams has been an activist all of his life.
Yeah.
His parents were activists. He was born into that culture. He's a beautiful brother. He's been vocal about it whenever he can, especially on YouTube and social media. So him saying what he said was nothing new. But what was fascinating, and it was necessary and needed and highly respected, and thank you very much, Jesse Williams, publicly for that wonderful acceptance speech. What we're dealing with, though, and what is the uproar is, well, there's a few things. And there's things to point the finger at both white folk and black folk in this case. Because I could not believe, and I still can't. I was reading that there were black folks saying, "Oh," and I never heard light skin privilege. Oh, he's a high yellow brother, and so that's why he gets to have this platform, and he gets all of a sudden to speak for all of us. Really? Are you that stupid? Are you that lost? Do you believe that racism and slavery and the victory of slavery has won because you made that statement and that's how you're thinking? Remember when we were watching Roots and we were reviewing Roots, Emunah, and one of the major quotes in the miniseries was, you can't buy a slave, you have to make a slave. And if you're saying that because Jesse Williams is light skinned yet still melanated, right, that gives him that you're discriminating against him because he's light skinned and what he says is discounted. Are you that damn stupid? I mean, honestly, come on, Emunah, talk to me about this. This is crazy. We were just in the green room and you brought up something that I just because we don't think about it. Malcolm X was light skinned,
right? And like I said, it is entrenched. It is embedded in our very core. And as you always say, what Dr. Joy DeGroot says is that the re-injury keeps on occurring. Yes. So they're pressing this. Let me just step back. I'm gonna play the person. I'm gonna just step back and analyze from both sides what I'm seeing. And what I'm seeing basically with that particular conversation is that if someone who is more threatening to the system of racism, white supremacy, by means of being darker, would have said that. Oftentimes people are doing the comparative. What would have been the response? You understand what I'm saying? Is Jesse Williams getting a pass because he has European ancestry? And like I saw that his mother was Swedish and his father is the one who's black, quote unquote, black or African American. So is he getting a pass to say these things because he is closer to the oppressor? Remember, this was one of the tools that the oppressor used for division, and it's still there. And so basically we're using it and not realizing that we're using it, and it actually was the tool that the oppressor used. But to ignore the fact that, yes, in some places, people who have a different skin tone are allowed passes, I don't think that is too accurate as well. So I don't know who made the quote, but this is something, for me, it's a litmus test of what is still in the air. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's a litmus test. They're still feeling
pulled
it.
one of the Twitter quotes, and I forgot. The guy said Jesse Williams said what black men have been saying for years, but because he's light skinned with nice eyes, y'all want to listen now.
This is what I'm saying. So, okay, look who's talking. To me, it sounds like a darker complexion man who feels almost invisible. Yes. Like I could be saying something and no one is listening. Now someone who you feel is attractive or appealing is saying this to you. Now
he has Euro-Asian features.
Right. And so, okay, can we discount that is a valid assertion? Are we discounting that doesn't really happen in society, that two people could say the very same thing, but because one may be famous and the other is not, or one may be pretty and the other is not, that one gets accepted and the other doesn't? That's a question too, you know, for the person who wrote that. Like, from what perspective or lens are they speaking this way?
But regardless of the lens or perspective, it's that we're still so fragmented that we're fighting. You know, this interracism between, you know, I remember back, I don't know if you're old enough to remember Spike Lee's Not Do the Right Thing.
Jungle Fever?
What's the name of the movie? Not Do the Right Thing.
Jungle Fever?
School Days.
School Days, okay.
School Days. School Days was a movie about the college scene back in the day, and the light skins versus the dark skinned blacks in college. And this it's almost like inbreeding fighting. It's amazing how the oppressor has literally took our minds.
Yes.
And it hurts me to say successfully so, because here we are having a conversation about it. Mm-hmm. So it means that it was a successful, it was like a military operation, like something from the CIA came in, and we're going to turn these people against themselves, and against anything that doesn't look like us. And so even if there's it's almost like it's like a reverse racism. So it's like, okay, if you've got an ounce of black in you, you black, and you and then with us, if you got an ounce of white in you, something wrong with you too. Unbelievable. Is this not insane to me?
If I may go back to this abuser conversation, and here's why. Even in the abuser scenario, if that abuser has a favorite, what do the other, even though everybody's being abused, how do the others feel towards that favorite? You understand what I'm saying? And so in this conversation, that one who is closer in the minds of the one who is not closer, even though everybody's being abused. So the fact that looking past the fact that everybody's being abused, but you're getting special treatment. And like you said,
this is why I love you on the show. This is why, because, you know, I'm insane. I'm nuts. I'm not well. You know, it's like Bernie Mac. This stuff make my ass itch. It really does. And I don't get a chance. I don't get a chance to really express, because I'm doing shows. I'm trying to be, you know, Mr. Host and everything. I'm like, but I get off the phone or off my show. I go out with my lady, and I'm just cussing and clowning and say, these crazy, you know, and I don't want to. That's why I love you. You bring sanity to me, Emunah. You bring sanity to me. You bring perspective. Because that's what a good sister is supposed to do. You're supposed to calm this black man down, because sometimes I just go batshit over this. It's like, really, honestly.
You like I said, Solonomics, like I said, it's what I do, it's my life, is what I practice on my own self. Like, I was my own guinea pig. Why do I think the way I do? Why do I react the way I do? What's going on around me? So after many years of doing this and practicing it, now I'm able to kind of emotionally take myself out of the situation and try to look from all angles and say, okay, what can I liken this to? What can how can I relate it to someone so that they can say, you know what? I never thought of it that way, because I'm an artist. So, you know, even in my words, I try to bring that artistic appeal so that you can imagine, you know, everybody's being abused in this house, but daddy brought you an extra popsicle stick. You understand? Everybody's getting abused, but I remember when you got that red bow. And so you start to think of reasons why you may be getting it and I'm not, even though we're all hurting. And that's what's going on. You know, in their mind, Jesse Williams and those like him is getting that little extra. And he's saying, but wait a minute, even though I'm getting that extra, I'm still being abused.
Right. Wow.
You know, for me, that's what that colorism thing as it relates to. And as we said, if you look at not Marcus Garvey, if you look at Malcolm X, people would have said the same thing about Malcolm. You're red, you're light. That's why, you know what I'm saying? So nothing really much has changed. We're talking about it because we need to bring an awareness. The person who wrote that tweet needs to be aware, okay, I'm saying this. Is it true? How this how I look at my brother? Am I discounting him because of what he's getting, or am I ready to admit that we're all being abused in this system?
For the record, Jesse Williams says police somehow managed to de-escalate, disarm, and not kill white people every day. He says we're going to have to have equal rights and justice in our country, or we will restructure their function in ours. Wow.
Yeah.
That's badass. I mean, honestly, that was kicking ass. I so appreciated that because I've done this thing with white fragility with Dr. Robin DiAngelo. And I know that statement just sent chills up and down some white folks' back. I mean, that's just like, whoo, he going to restructure the function. Oh, what are these Negroes going to do? Oh my gosh. So talk to me about this and that Fox News. This is
yeah.
we're gonna let the black folk go, and we're gonna let y'all go for a moment. Now we're gonna get on the white folk. Okay, so now Fox News host Eric Bolling dismissed actor Jesse Williams' highly praised speech at the BET Awards on Sunday, arguing that black entertainers owe their success to white people.
Yeah.
Now this is why white people get their ass beat up. That's why they get hit in the head. You say stupid stuff, this is what happens. Okay, so he says the reasons why white rappers are living in, he says, driving in Mercedes-Benzes and living in neighborhoods is because they're selling their music not just to the black community, but to the white community. Bolling went on to say on the 5 on Monday show, every suburban white kid thinks he's the next rap star. And thinks he's the next Jay-Z. Really? Really, dude? Honestly, dude? Really? For real? As we say, for real though? For real though? It's like that. What's his name? Eric Bolling. It's like that, Eric? Really? Now, why, if somebody come along and just bust you upside the head, they wrong, right? Because, when you say stupid stuff like that, you are not, it's like you're fueling the fire.
Yeah.
You're not helping the situation with you. And let's do this. Let's bring in Justin Timberlake's a little pale butt, because I love me some JT. I love me some Justin Timberlake. But nobody asked you a damn thing, Justin. Nobody asked you to tweet. Nobody called you and said, "Oh, Justin, what do you think about Jesse Williams?" Nobody called you.
Philippe is turned up to.
I'm a little turned up. I'm a little burnt up about it, Emunah. If you could tell, I'm just saying, who asked you, little punk ass, anything? Nobody asked you. Nobody asked Eric Bolling for your opinion on just. It's the BET, black entertainment, not white entertainment, not Asian entertainment, not Mexican entertainment. I don't want to leave anybody out, but it's black entertainment. And when we talk, why do you keep inserting your opinion in it when we didn't ask for it? All right, Emunah.
Oh boy, you guys.
I gotta get.
We're gonna drink some more of his water. Brother Philippe's turn.
Yeah. Water, people.
Brother.
I know children are watching them. It's water.
Again.
Hold on. Timberlake said, what was his quote? We are all the same.
Yeah.
Really, dude?
Yeah.
Have you watched Jane Elliott? Have you watched any of the YouTube videos? Read any of the books? We're not all the same. We're all Americans, but we're not all the same. We're all in America, but we're not all the same. I'm supposed to treat someone who is Hmong the same way I treat a fellow African American. I just completely discount their culture altogether.
Yeah, yeah. What you saw is what I saw. I saw it come through my feed, and I, just doing, because I did a video earlier this week on 9 key points from the speech, and then when I saw this Fox conversation that you just spoke about, I said the same thing, really. But then when I put it back into this perspective of which I'm viewing this, I'm like, that's pretty about much accurate. If I discount you, if I discredit you, and if I make you to feel that you should be actually honored that we gave you the opportunity to succeed. He didn't want to say white neighborhoods, so he kind of stuttered for a second and said you wouldn't be driving Mercedes or live in neighborhoods. And I'm like, well, what kind of neighborhoods? Because his thought process is, we're allowing you to do this, and so you should actually thank us.
Unreal.
Yeah. So it's about accurate. It's about accurate when you talk about the mentality or the psychosis of someone who's oppressing another. I have to be able to sleep at night. I have to justify my actions. I have to make me your savior. And I have to make you believe, that this is good for both of us.
This reminds me of the ISIS papers. It brings me back to Francis Cress Wilson's work, Dr. Wilson's work. And I do the work that I do, and I try not to buy into global stereotypes. But when I hear these kinds of continually hear these kinds of comments, I remember Tim Weiss asking the question. Tim Weiss is white. And he wrote the book White Like Me, became very famous for it. And I remember him asking a question on one of his YouTube videos, and that is are white people sociopathic people? Because it takes a sociopathic mind to make the statement that Eric Bolling made. You can't be in a right mind or your right mind to make a statement like that. And it's fascinating to me. So I guess, I look at this and I ask the question, and I don't want to lump all white people together. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say every white person is like this.
Right.
But there is a body of white folk that seemingly are completely sociopathic.
Like I said, I think for me, it's just by watching it and continue study. I'm new to the study. I've been paying attention, but really getting into the history. It's a disconnect that is necessary for them to continue doing what they do. Like I said, you have to disconnect yourself, like we see in Thomas Jefferson in his conversation. You have to convince yourself that they're not really people, or things of this nature. And so this is what we're watching. This, like I said, it happens in whether or not you're black or white, because it happens in abusive situations when there is power being exploited and people being disenfranchised. This is what has to happen whether or not you're black, white, yellow, or green. This is something, a human condition. We're just seeing it in this particular race of people because they're the ones right now that are exacting power from others. But regardless of what color you would be, if you're looking to take others' powers to empower you, you have to do it in some systematic type of way. You understand what I'm saying? And so we liken it to them at this point because they're the particular ones that are doing it. If the power paradigm changes and now it's somebody of another nationality or race, we're going to say the same thing. You understand what I'm saying? We're just awake at the time when, okay, you're the face on this type of energy. You're the face on this type of behavior.
That's why I have Emunah on the show, ladies and gentlemen. I knew she was going to bring some perspective to it because I was just crazy. I just lost my damn mind.
Look at when I say that, Brother Philippe, if we could take the energy, because everything is energy. What we're seeing is energy behind people's bodies moving and things of this nature. And so when we look at this force that is happening, this exploitative type energy, this negative energy really is what it is. Okay, go to different spaces in history or different places in the present around the world that are oppressing people, and tell me if you don't see the same characteristics. You're going to see the same characteristics. Look at in India, you have a caste system. In India, you still have colorism. You understand what I'm saying? And all of them are brown. You understand? Right. So it is still present, even outside of this black-white paradigm.
And within that black-white paradigm, I'm gonna bring this up because I think it's interesting. It's an interesting hypothesis. I had an interview with Brother Kabahia Wathakamane, who, as many of you know, is the star of the series Hidden Colors, and 1 through 4, and also Out of Darkness, that was produced by Amadeus Christ. And we did this piece called, matter of fact, in the movie Out of Darkness, he did this narrative that was just amazing, that was called From the Pyramids to the Plantation, from the plantation to the projects, and from the projects to the Promised Land. And what he offered within that that 4-part journey, I thought was really fascinating. And he said that because we were first on the planet and we were closest to the equator, that the Earth loved us. It gave us plenty of food. It gave us plenty of water, plenty of sun, plenty of nurturing and nourishment. It gave us everything that we could possibly ever want. And it was like living in heaven. And then he went and talked about what happened when the Ice Age came. And some of us Africans got caught on continents that were shifting and breaking apart. And for generations, especially in the Worm Ice Age, which was the last one, where there were generations that never saw the sun, never saw the sun. Generations that had to deal with 200 below zero temperatures on a regular basis. Generations of people that did not have food and ended up having to prey on the weak, the frail, the old, and even the young, and eat them. This is where cannibalism came from, because that was not our culture. And what he did is he kind of painted this picture and said the Earth at that time, for those people, when they started losing their melanin and becoming Euro-Asians, and this is the hypothesis, is that because of the generation after generation of having to conquer and having to survive in such harsh conditions environmentally, that it created this divide and conquer sociopathic person or human that we now call the Euro-Asian. Isn't that an interesting hypothesis? What do you think about that?
I think it is. I think it's very interesting. Because as you're saying, even in that hypothesis, and I did catch some of that video, is the same thing that we're learning about genetics and behavior and environment. If there's a deficit that is created in an individual or a group of people, then this is going to be the lens from which they interact with their environment. And so it's like saying if a person was out days and they were hungry and you've eaten every day, they're definitely going to act different at the dinner table. And you, because you're not lacking, you're going to be like, man, dude, why are you acting like that? But in their reality, they're starved. And so like you're saying, and the hypothesis, and I could see some validity, because when we look at the behavior, when we look at the behavior of exploiting everything, no matter what it is, to the very last drop, without thinking conservation, without thinking preservation, it sounds like somebody deprived. Something mentally is making you think I have to consume all of this right now without thought of tomorrow. That is what they call root chakra. That's what they call something going on in the thought that I have a right to be here, meaning Earth. You understand what I'm saying? That stability is off balance. And again, that is definitely something to look at, because comparative to other cultures who did not have those issues, You know, they think of, hey, I take a tree, I plant back a tree. They think of don't pollute the waterways. You understand what I'm saying? So what type of mind only thinks of gaining possessions, and not of the generations that's to come and the damage that you're doing? And when we look at what's going on in the world today, this is the spirit that's out there. And the native, or the what's the word that I'm looking for? The original people of the earth had a different mindset. And so, like you're saying, that would lend to the fact that you weren't in that level of survival mode, that predator mode. You understand?
That's the word I was looking. Predator.
Yes,
That's
predator
it. That's a perfect.
Yeah.
That's a perfect word, Emunah.
It's predator mode.
Yeah,
it's predator mode. And then you know what? When you look at the animal kingdom, which by the way I love watching, animal kingdom documentaries, we are kind of like, even though we're in this condition, you usually see those who are grazing. They kind of got their eye out for the predator, but they don't have that spirit to come and consume. And so when the predator comes along, they're like, whoa, they sound the alarm and everybody runs off. So we're dealing with literally two different energies and two different spirits that are in the earth. And we can't seem to understand it. We can't grasp it. We can't put our mind around it. And we're kind of like that antelope that keeps going too close to the watering hole where the alligators live.
Nice.
We're too weak. We're like that. Why do you keep going? Because we're thinking, why do you want to eat me? You know what I'm saying? Why are you coming at me like this? What is your problem?
Right.
I'm thirsty.
Right. Just want a little drink of water.
I just want to drink.
Your brother want to eat my ass alive. What the hell is that about? Come on, man. I don't want to be like Rodney. Why can't we just all get along? Oh man.
I just want to drink.
That being said, and this is really a good conversation as we always have a great conversation. I am reminded that when we look at this predatory attitude or genetics of the Eurasian, and how we Africans ended up here generationally now, and to be called African American. What I find interesting is, and I'll go back again to the conversation, one of the conversations that I had with Brother Kabahir Kamane. And, the success, if you will, of breaking the mind of a people, and then breaking the mind of a people generationally, where we are now, where we have this infighting, and where we have this group or subgroup of melanated men and women that some might call bottom feeders, some might call thugs, some might call criminals. Matter of fact, Hillary Clinton called them predatory. What was her term? Not predator. Super predators. When we look at the subculture of the African American in this country, I am reminded continuously to tell my people that it's not your fault. It's the condition that created you. And Kabahir Wathi talked about, we use the term, you've heard the term crab in a barrel, right? And it's like we try to, somebody tries to get out, and then one of the crabs pulls the other crab back down. And what Kaba told me was fascinating. He says, Philippe, in the natural environment of a crab, in the natural environment, because what we forget is that we're not in our natural environment.
Correct.
Kaba said in the natural environment, the crab on the top feeds, and then after the crab on the top finishes feeding, he goes down to the bottom and he gets up under the rest of the crabs and pushes the next crab up so it can feed. That's the natural order of how crabs feed. Now, if you take all of those crabs and you put them in a barrel, which is not their natural inhabitant, they just crawl and try to and pull each other down and pull each other down. So I thought that was the most brilliant. And of course, I looked it up and it's like, well, that's really how crabs do feed, actually. That's really real. I thought it was fascinating, though, that it was how he applied it to us, because what we have to really look at, and I'm saying this because we have to stop our infighting. We have to stop our judging of each other. And what condition, because it's the conditions that created the drug dealer, the dope, the prostitute, the pimp. It's not a natural condition. We're not in our natural inhabitant. And in order to survive, we've had to do and become many things that collectively we're not proud of, and perhaps even individually.
Correct.
But because we're not in our natural environment, yes, you were born here. Yes, this is all you know, but this is not a natural, conducive environment for a melanated person, which is why we do the work that we do, which is why Emunah is on the show, which is why there's a term called racial socialization, because you have to be socialized in order to survive and come out on the other end without being in a mental institution or worse. How did I do, Emunah?
Yeah, we got you calmed down, brother. He over there drinking his water, and we calming him right on down. You see that? That's that Solonomics touch right there.
My water, people, right here. Woo.
But I agree, brother Philippe. As you were speaking, and you were giving what the elder was saying regarding crabs in a barrel, what came to my mind was we love that term, we love that analogy, we love to put it on our people. And as you were speaking, I'm like, wait a minute, who put the crabs in the barrel? And like you said, that's not their
yes.
Like we always talk about the crabs in the barrel and how their behavior is abnormal, but we're not talking about who captured the crabs and put them in the barrel. And furthermore, what were you going to do with them after you put them in the barrel more than cook them alive and eat them? Exactly. So understand that if animals can detect, even you see in the animal kingdom, they can detect danger. They can detect when their life is going to be threatened, and they're going to act in survival mode. And so again, if you're saying that the condition of Black people in the West are like crabs in a barrel, then you also have to say that, as Brother Philippe just said, and rightfully so, we're out of our condition and we're in survival mode. Mm-hmm. And in survival mode, you're trying to stay alive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, as a result, I no longer, I can't look down on anyone of my people. And that's a shift. It's a change. It's an evolution, because I ain't gonna act like I started. I've been always. This is an evolution for me as well. I was, I've been blessed. I'm a blessed person. I've gone through a lot of struggle, a lot of challenge. We were, me and my sweetheart, we were coming back from San Francisco. I think I told you I was invited by Reverend Dr. Gerald Durley to meet him and Reverend Dr. Amos Brown. Matter of fact, who I just interviewed this morning, Reverend Dr. Amos Brown, talk about his story. And this is the man who he went to Morehouse. He was the one who was taught by Medgar Evers, the only course that Martin Luther King ever taught in Morehouse. He was the student. And he knew Reverend King when Reverend King was 26. So a young man, yeah, and he was original freedom fighter, freedom fighter on the Freedom Bus, and just his history. He's 75 years of age today. Yeah, and so just that history of civil rights and why he got into the movement, and what civil rights was then versus what Black Lives Matter is now. We had that conversation. Went off on a little tangent, but what I'm trying to do is bring it home. We were coming home from that event, and we said, oh, we're out of gas. Now we're driving a drop top BMW, and we're pulling into this gas station, and it was kind of a seedy gas station, or a seedy area, or should I say a malnourished area. And it was this brother who was joking with me on the bike. He was on a bike, and he was joking with me. He said, hey, brother, can I trade with you? And I said, absolutely, brother. Come on, you can trade. How much, what you want for your bike? We were just kind of having, some giggles.
Right.
And I, because I looked at what he was, and he said, hey man, can I pump your gas for a little, a few dollars? I said, absolutely. And I think I gave him $20, some crazy number or something I had on me. And I said, absolutely, brother. And we just started talking. We talking about the game because the game was about to come on. Right. And we just had a great conversation because here's what I realized, Emunah. Now, some of us, we walk past homeless people and we walk past poor people, people who are doing less than we're doing, and we look down on them. And you have to understand, that's you. That's you. This, what you see, in my prosperity, whatever, that's not mine. That's something I had to fight for in survival and struggle, just as this brother is fighting and struggling with a bike and asking if he can pump gas. It's one and the same. You can't look down on your people no matter where they're at, because we're all still in the same boat.
Still in the same struggle.
We're in the same struggle. And so you just can't. You gotta wake up. This is what it means to wake up. This is what it means to be aware. So speak to us, Emunah, about understanding what unity really means, and using Jesse Williams as an example with the infighting of colorism and just some of the stupidity. Because I went off earlier. Some of the what I call DS. You know what DS stands for, right? Dumb stuff. But there's another word for there's another word that goes under stuff. But I just call it DS. This DS. Talk to us about the importance of just getting this mind together so we can be collective and not fragmented, because this is what fragmentation and a fragmented mind looks like.
All right. Do they really want to hear it, Brother Philippe?
If they don't, I do. Hell, okay. How about that? If they're not ready, I'm ready.
I've come to realize in my journey, and I know I look young. Like I said, I get carded everywhere I go. It's all good. But don't let the baby face fool you. I've come to realize that before we can be one with anybody or anything, we have to be one with ourselves. And because we have a dichotomy in thought inside, and I made comment to that on the BET Award, because I'm saying to myself, at what point during the evening did he give that speech? Because people look like they was ready to go to church. They was like, oh yeah, hallelujah. And right after that, somebody came out twerking. So I'm like, so this dichotomy that we can go jump here and then jump there, we have to pick a side, and then you got to stay on it. This is why, because we're energy, and because we're producing energy, if you do hot and then cold, you just canceled it out. And so that oneness with source and your purpose, first and foremost, will be able to help us to look at someone else in the struggle and understand where they are. But because we can right now as a collective, we're not doing that, because individually we think it's more important to see what's wrong with everyone else as opposed to fixing what's wrong with ourselves.
Wow.
So that's why I said, if they really want to hear it, because my motto is do the work. Soul improvement is an inside job. You do the work, and guess what? I'm going to naturally attract others who are interested in doing the work. But what happens, we try to go out and gather everybody, and each and every time it falls apart, because what's going to hold us together is that work that we're doing inside. So I don't have to come and tell you, yes, as my brother Philippe, I can nudge you or something goes wrong, but inside your conscience is supposed to be like, you know what, that was wrong. You know what, I shouldn't have said that. You know what, let me go ahead and apologize. But if your conscience is seared because you have split personality, today you're this person, tomorrow you're that person, when I come and talk to you, I might get the wrong person. You might curse me out. You know what I'm saying?
Never gonna curse you out.
But no, I'm saying that, one day we're ultra righteous. We want righteousness and judgment. Right. And the next day we're making excuses as to why our behavior, even though we're in the position that we are, there's certain things that the oppressor has no control over, which is at this point in time, how we choose to be to each other. Like exactly what you're upset about. Right now, you have the choice. The person who made the tweet had the choice to say, hey, let's talk about this. Let me express to you in another way why I'm upset. Another issue that we have is communication. We have a terrible communication way in which we think that just voice each other is going to resolve the issue.
You broke
just
up in the froze in that moment. Can you repeat what you just said?
No, I said the communication issue is another one of the problems. And I see this on social media because we no longer want to address the person. We no longer, even if we're going to speak to them and think that we can't personally reach them, we don't want to give the message in a way that it's palatable. We want to feel like, we just bust shots. We just let you know. We just read you. No, what are you going to do? Offend the person. Come to them first in love and say, hey, like the sister. And I wanted to bring that up because I brought it up earlier on a video. Sister Leslie Jones, in the speech that the brother gave, he spoke about branding your body and how now we have people. He told them that money is not going to do it. I don't know if you saw that part. He said money alone is not going to fix this problem. And the fact that you're running after these brands to brand your body when your foreparents were branded for years with the actual brand of a hot iron. And he's looking at the irony in that conversation. Okay, 3 days later, this sister comes out upset because no one won't give her a dress. No, a designer won't sponsor her look. And I'm like, okay, this is personal responsibility now. Your brother just spoke about this. Are you listening? So, but I'm still going to share it in a way that if perchance she sees it, it's something for her to think about. Like, you know what? I'm not going to call you out your name. I'm not going to do all of these things, but it is definitely something that we have to think about and find a better way to express our discontent so that we can actually build after that. It's like you have a loved one. If you go, the chances are they're really not going to want to build with you after that. They're going to build resentment. That's what they're going to build. They're going to build indifference and they're going to build hatred.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Emunah, how now we know you have a new book called My Brother, My Keeper.
Yes, we had an awesome time, by the way, at the children's.
Yeah, you had I think last time we talked, you were heading to the signing and the seminar and event. How did it go?
It was awesome. The children, I counted, I was off. The number was like almost 40. And I love interacting with children because their minds are still open. There's still a level of purity and just truthfulness in their expression. And so we spoke about literacy and the importance of literacy, the importance of reading and writing. And I asked them about their stories. And I got to tell you this, Brother Philippe, there were two children. There were many children there. Like I said, I loved all their spirits. Two in particular, I said, what would you like to write about? Because I gave them notepads and pencils and just encouraged them to begin starting that process. Two children, two melanated children. One said, a little boy. I said, what would you like to write about? And by the name, his name was Israel, so go figure. I said, what would you like to, yeah, that was funny. I said, what would you like to write about? He said he would like to write about child abuse. And I said, next little girl, melanated little girl. And I believe her name was Destiny. I said, what would you like to write about? And she said, I would like to write about fatherless daughters.
Wow.
Understand that our children are hurting and we have to give them voice and teach them from a very young age how to express yourself in a positive way, but at the same time in a truthful way. So I told them, hey, reading is someone else's voice, but writing and speaking is yours. And both of these components are very important as we're relating to this give and take of what it's not a monologue, it's a conversation. And so it was beautiful, and I hope to do it again real soon in and around this community. So definitely.
That's fantastic. Wow. Thank you for sharing that, Emunah. How can people get in contact with you and interact with you?
Definitely. I'm on all social media as Emunah Yisrael, and I'm gonna spell it again for
yeah, because I'm retarded. I obviously cannot spell it no matter how many doggone times she gives me the damn spelling people. I just get it wrong. She's so sweet too, because she'll just send me an email, and she got me now hooked on phonics because she'll send it. Whereas Philippe, it's It's E before A at the end, and she'll spell it out, you know. And I still get it wrong, but go ahead.
Because you're trying to, you're transposing because you really want to spell real. You know what I'm saying? That's
right, right.
Emunah is real. You understand what I'm saying? But
she is real. That's what exactly.
You know,
what. Yep. See, now you're gonna mess up because now I'm gonna go back and misspell it again.
Yeah, Emunah is real, but definitely. If you want to put that in your mind, but to be able to find me when you put Emunah Yisrael, you definitely have to put the YSREL in order to get Emunah Yisrael and all this great thing that Brother Philippe is doing here on this channel, as well as on social media, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. And you definitely, I'm reachable. You know, you can go to emunahyisrael.com and check out the books. Like I said, and my daughter, she was real nervous, but she read the first chapter and it went well. And the children were like, "Is her name really on the book?"
Wow.
I said, "Yes." And yours can be too. And so even the adults, they said they were inspired. So it was a blessing, and I'm blessed. And I love to be a blessing to others, as this work and journey is a blessing to myself as well. So definitely be the change, you know, be the change. That's all I have to say.
Yes, yes. Whew, okay.
You feel better, Brother Philippe?
I do. You know what?
Oh,
Thank you, Emunah. I think a little scotch and a little Emunah. I mean, coffee and a
no, water.
Water. That's what I was gonna call it. You know, that's what I was gonna say first. A little water and Emunah goes a long way. I swear to God. I so appreciate. You know, it's been a really good conversation, a necessary conversation, and this is why we do what we do. We know that we're gonna have some more stuff to talk about next week. Because there's always something to talk about in this crazy space and time that we live in. So with that being said, can you stick around in the green room? We'll schedule our next show. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next time on the Philippe Matthews Show After Hours.
All right.